Well, good morning. Welcome to the 2020 New South Wales Permanent Way Institutions Annual Convention. This year it'll be a virtual convention. I'm Mark Harris, President of the New South Wales branch of the Permanent Way Institution. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners on the land on which we meet today and pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging. I pay my respect not as a protocol, but because it's appropriate and I believe the right thing to do. The PWI has been running these annual conventions since it was first established back in 1974. Unfortunately this year, for the first time in our history, due to the coronavirus and the ongoing restrictions around social gatherings that have been imposed by the New South Wales Government, we've had to modify our convention this year to suit this live streaming event. The past 6 months have indeed been a challenge for all of us as we manage the impacts of this global pandemic. All businesses have had to continually adapt and change. Personally, we had to face the challenges of working from home, homeschooling our children and continuing to work on site with strict protocols in place. The rail industry has also shown significant resilience during this time. Its leadership, keeping moving freight and passengers across the country, and we've continued to deliver rail projects in both a safe and efficient management without any serious challenges. Today we're streaming this event from the Museum of Contemporary Art in Sydney, which has replaced one of their traditional event rooms for this purpose-built studio. And as you can see, they've done an excellent job this morning. I'm joined here this morning by our keynote speaker, Gary Denman, who is the Head of Sales Management for Google Cloud Australia, and our session chairs, which are two of our Platinum members, represented by Julian Sharp, one of the project directors from CPB Contractors, and Steve Butcher, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the John Holland Rail business. Also in attendance, a small number of PWI committee members and other speakers and others who will be joining us from overseas. The theme for this year's convention is Bursting the Bubble, Disruption and Innovation in the World of Rail. Fairly appropriate title for this year. The rail industry has for a long time been known as a slow turning ship when it comes to changing the way that we operate, particularly our willingness to adapt new technologies. And whilst the operational impacts of a large integrated network of railways can mean new technology is not easy to deploy, the rest of the world seems to do it in a much faster rate than us. Maybe it's the generational gap across the industry that has no doubt played a role in this. However, as we strive to close the gap and encourage more youth into our industry, the younger generation is challenging the industry in the areas and questioning why we can't be more advanced in our thinking and, more importantly, our actions. Though unfortunate circumstances, the 2020 coronavirus pandemic has highlighted, when we're forced to do so, what the industry can do and how we can adapt and in our working and how we can deploy things quickly. So what we need is, do we really need a pandemic to make all these changes? So in keeping with our theme today of bursting the bubble, disrupting the innovation in the world of rail, we want to explore through rail, through those lenses of innovation and technology. Whilst we'll be cognizant of the risks and the challenges, the management of the industry in this unique, heavily regulated and politically constrained, we've got to seek to learn from other businesses and industries, the international experiences, and explore the potential of innovation and technology on efficient asset management and operations, skills development, climate change, and sustainable businesses. Today we'll learn from some of the technology leaders around the world and what they're doing in their industries, what's available in rail and transport, and where the future of innovation might lead us. Our first speaker, Annika Schmidt, is an experienced and an expert in artificial intelligence at Sieben Mobility. She'll be joining us live from Germany and speaking about the demand response for transport and railway operations. And we'll look at the wide range of data to improve that rail service. Mario Domanovsky, who's the Chief Executive Officer from Tradibot Industries, will be joining us from Chicago in the US. He'll give us a bit of insight into some of the fantastic benefits available through the use of immersive technologies such as virtual and augmented reality, and how these are being applied within the automotive industry. where they're experiencing similar challenges to us in the areas of innovation, skills training, repairs, and the maintenance and operations of vehicles. Also joined this morning with Caroline Wilkie, the newly appointed CEO of the Australasian Railways Association. She'll be joining me and we'll be talking about some of the current challenges facing the railway industry. Caroline will share with us her visions of the ARA and what are some of the major issues that she'll be focusing on during the year. We'll also discuss how the ARA is leading working groups to achieve a constant and consistent approach across the country in areas such as tendering, competency assessment and type approvals. We've got Jared Francis, who's the CEO and Global Head of Infrastructure at Willow Rail. He'll lead us through the advances in technology and things that they're using assisting the use of digital technology twins in his paper, Empowering the Rail Industry to Leverage Digital Twins and Improve Performance. In the final paper this morning, Jacqueline Link, who is an enthusiastic and dynamic leader in the culture and innovation, will share with us her highlights and some of the key ingredients that support the drive and innovation in the workplace and the industry through her paper, which is titled The Incipient Movement in Rail. Innovation is actually the vaccine, not the virus, perhaps somewhat aptly titled in this current environment. This year the PWI has actually decided to postpone a number of our events, and particularly our major awards events, which we're going to move to February next year. We're planning a big networking event to recognise the entrants and acknowledge those award winners. However, given the strong alignment with the theme, we've decided to present the Ken Erickson Innovation Award through the panel session, and that'll be announced later this morning. I must thank the ongoing support of our corporate and enhanced members of the PWI who help us provide funding and then support for our personal members to participate in all our events. The past 6 months has indeed been challenging, and we look forward to 2021 where we can re-establish the face-to-face meetings and networking events. In closing, I would like to thank the hard-working PWI committee, our volunteers, our sponsors, and others who work to make our PWI activities during the year such a wonderful success. I also need to acknowledge the convention subcommittee that has again organised a stimulating group of presenters, some challenging topics to inspire us around the convention theme. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for this morning, Gary Denman, who is the Head of Enterprise Sales Management at Google Cloud Australia. Most of you know Google as a source of all answers to the questions that we have. Google has indeed been a leader in innovation through their ability to provide everyone with access to the world's information. But Google is just one piece of the network and the innovative business leading to the next wave of technology and advancements as part of their global business alphabet, which is estimated to be worth over $1 trillion. Alphabet owns not only Google, but Calico, Nest, and Google X, the business behind the autonomous vehicles. Alphabet has also been involved in other ranges of organisations and investment firms. So Gary will share with us what makes Google one of the most innovative businesses in the world and how they come up with some of these fantastic ideas and turn those products into everyday use. He will give us a peek into the future of the technological advancements planned. Gary's been working in the technology industry for the past 30 years, working across the UK, Malaysia and Australia. During this time, Gary's been involved with customers and industries as they transition through the implementation of IT in the 90s, went through the Y2K, the dot-com boom, the GFC, cloud transformations, and most recently the COVID-19 pandemic. Gary is very passionate about and focused on the business outcomes and aligning people and processes with technology. At Google Cloud, Gary engages with customers and industries and identifies how technologies can impact the users, communities and industries, and how Google can bring the whole Alphabet group to transformation. Outside of the workplace, Gary's a big supporter of the mental health and has been involved in the Black Dog Institute for the last 10 years. Gary's also excited to see the rise in electric vehicles and how that transformation can bring new experience to users and benefit the whole environment. Would you join with me in welcoming Gary to the stage, who will be our keynote speaker and opening the convention for 2020. So thanks, Gary.